Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or bring. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king.
Ready to stop guessing and start growing as a trader. Welcome to Vici Trading Solutions, a community built by real traders for serious learners. We don't just post trades, we teach the why behind every move. With a full education section and daily breakdowns, you'll start seeing the market like a pro. You won't be trading alone. Inside the Vici Discord, you're surrounded by committed traders, from futures pros to rising crypto specialists, all learning and winning together. Gain first access to our exclusive indicators, powerful tools used daily by hundreds across TradingView and beyond. These aren't gimmicks, they're built to sharpen your edge. Each morning, our founder posts a full trading plan for the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and calls out the levels he's watching live. No fluff, just clarity. Education, tools, community. Whether you trade futures, stock, or crypto, Vici gives you the foundation and firepower to grow. Join Vici, trade smarter, conquer the markets.
Welcome back, everyone. It is nice to have you here. It was another amazing day in the trade plan. Welcome back for this awesome Tuesday. I have an exciting day today, actually. As promised, I'm bringing Bubba back on the scene. Everybody loves the podcast that we do together. And so, you know, him and I agreed to have each other on the stream too. So he's here today. We're going to run over the trade plan real fast. I'm going to take 10 minutes, go over the trade plan, what we did, what we're looking at. And then we're going to have him on, just talk a little smack, you know, go back and forth. So I love this guy. Everything that we do is unscripted. We don't even have any concept. I have no clue what we're going to talk about today. So it's going to be fun. Jim O'Donnell, it is a pleasure to see you again, sir. And also Traders Pro. I am so glad you guys are here. We've got quite a few people on X and Twitter right now, and they are starting to come in on Substack. So let's go ahead and get it kicked off as usual and appropriate. Like, guys, if you have not followed me across these social channels, please do so. Ryan Bailey Edge across Substack, TradingView, and YouTube, and X, of course, and X. Actually, we've actually had a really large amount of people come through and download the TradingView indicators. Guys, if you are a Substack subscriber and you have not given me your TradingView username, you need to do that. I have two excellent indicators. One in particular that I am a huge fan of, and a lot of people are fans of that in our group, is the 80% rule. I call it the 80% edge rule. It is a TPO market profile trade, where essentially when you open up outside the previous day's value and move into the previous day's value and spend 2 or more periods, you get an alert, and the target is always the high of that previous day's value area or the low, depending on how you come into the trade. Anyways, it is a phenomenal trade, 80% win rate. You would be a fool not to have that, especially if you are already subscribed. So follow me across there, shoot me a DM, let me know if you're a subscriber. I will get you signed up, and once you got it, it's yours for good. So guys, that is obviously priority number 1. Priority number 2, I'm doing something out of the request for all the users here. On Thursday, I'm doing the first monthly webinar on how to trade the trade plan. I put the link in the post for you guys to go ahead and check out. All you have to do is put in your information here, guys, and I'm going to be doing this live. It is for subscribers and non-subscribers. Come in, get all the details you need. I'm going to do a once-over. I've been working all day on this pitch deck for you guys. I spent a long time last night on it too. Hopefully this will be extremely informative for a lot of people and help you guys really get that edge and clarification that you need to continue to really just conquer these markets with me day in and day out. So make sure that you sign up for that. I'm actually going to go ahead and put this link in the comments right now. Let me go ahead and throw it in here. This is what the landing page will look like, guys. Just put your information in there and I'll take care of it. I'm going to throw this in the comments right now. That way you don't have to go ahead and fish for it. There it is in the YouTube comments. And hang on, let me find the Substack. Where are we at? Where are we at? Here we go. Boom. Sign up for that. You guys will enjoy that. I'm going to be doing this every month, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get into the trade plan so I can get Bubba on here. I know he's ready to get back to the poker table as usual. So here we go. Let's get into this right now. We're going to start off with the title, guys. And listen, this is one of the things I'm going to talk about when we go into the trade plan on the How to Trade a Trade Plan on Thursday. Guys, I give a lot of clues just in the title and the subtitle. And so let's just go ahead and get into it right here. The anticipated pullback, all right? That's a big deal. We're going to talk about that. And the 71.52 weekly POC battle. As you guys know, that was pretty close to the low of the day today, something that we had called out over the weekend. And I also put in the trade plan today, which you will soon see. I was all over this today. I knew this was going to be a big spot. I knew it was a big spot yesterday, etc. So listen, we had this pullback this morning. At the time of writing, we were down 50 points. First thing I said is this isn't a surprise to us, right? Over the weekend, I put out a post regarding a potential 2 to 4% pullback to find support. That is this article right here. If you guys have not read that, this is a high quality trade out there. It is not behind a paywall. You need to read this. This is setting up for a nice pullback for a big leg higher. You guys should read this. I got levels in there, all kinds of statistics, information going back 18 years worth of data. This is good stuff. So as we come down, we are already moving below significant areas of support. And we find ourselves back in the middle of last week's range. Big shocker, right? Sitting right at the weekly point of control. Oh, who would have imagined? An extremely important spot that I pointed out in both the weekend review and some tweets yesterday, clearly showing a clearly defined levels of buyers and sellers. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Here is this picture that I posted. As you can see, this is the weekly profile. Guys, look at this weekly point of control sitting at 52. It is very, very obvious right here. Look at this massive amount of buyers above the weekly point of control, and then where the sellers just can clearly take over underneath the point of control. This was a beautiful example right here on the weekly profile of really who's in control and where, and this came into play big time today. So let's go ahead and talk about that. The anticipated reaction is something that we are still anticipating to come down farther. I don't think we're done coming down. We've had 3 weeks of this massive push up. It's time for a little profit taking. And of course, I am expecting a new leg up after this, but for now, let's bring it down so the dad can buy something good, right? So we have been predicting this to happen since early weekend. Our data shows us that we're looking for a 2 to 4% pullback before we're coming down into support to make another leg. So this fall, this morning, was clearly something that we've been waiting for. Now we're sitting directly at the point of control at 71.52. It's a clearly defined level of buyers and sellers, and it's obviously clear where things go wrong if we push back into the weekly point of control. All right. So another big thing this morning, guys, and it wasn't in the title, but if you were paying attention, it was here throughout the trade plan. I only have one spot that I actually clipped for us, but we flipped into negative gamma this morning, guys. Yesterday, the gamma flip level was at 71.35. This morning when I woke up and put the trade plan out, we had the gamma flip level at 72.35, which means we came into the day with options dealers hedging to the downside. We are back in a negative gamma volatility regime, which means that, we're looking for trades both ways, and we got them. We were down 50 points this morning. They ended up, coming down even farther, but we were able to play both directions today, which is one of the beautiful parts about being in a negative gamma regime. I absolutely love that. And, positive gamma is so boring. It is so boring. Bring on the volatility, bring on the range expansion, right? So this is just a real quick synopsis before we get into the trades. One more time, this was kind of a little rough this morning, because even though we were coming down, right, we still have not lost support on any time frame. We're still up on the weekly, daily, 4-hour, etc. Now, it was very plausible that we could lose support, especially if they continued falling faster, because they have to lose it at some point in order for us to make a down move, right? And so this is kind of the beginnings of it, which makes it a little bit more difficult, especially when you're surfing all-time highs. It's like, I'm bearish bias, right? It's like, but why? The chart says technically we're still up. So that was the nice part about coming in. We had some serious levels that we knew we had to hold. That 52 was one of them, and so was 81. So let's get into that. So based on the data, we were expecting the rotation lower. If you are looking for longs, right, this was a big deal, right? Make sure that it has played a reclaim. Also look for us to get above or below our significant areas. This is the important part, which at this point would be our significant 4-hour at 71.64 and our 4-hour at 71.81, as these two areas will shift momentum in the favor of the bulls. I'm not going to get into the rest of this with you guys. These are the two important spots, specifically focusing on 71.81. If you take a look at the chart, that was the high of our intraday today, which we actually took for a short because it was just so stinking important. How could we not, right? So, okay, so let's go ahead and get into this first. Where do I want to start? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and start with this. I think this is a great spot. So again, it almost looks like I do this stuff after the move has already happened, but it truly isn't. We weren't at 1942 when I wrote this plan. 1942 was literally the high touch of the VIX today. This was our big above below pivot. As I'm writing this, we were about $19 handle, and I'm telling everybody this is going to be the big one. If we push above this, go ahead and look for the indices to come, to keep coming down. Obviously, below this, we start to get a little suppression here, with 1942 being the big above below today. Obviously, as you know, we cratered in from 1942, and then we started to lose 1863, which obviously gave us a little bit of relief towards the end of the day. But you would think, as much as VIX is getting blasted, that it would have went up a lot farther. And actually, that's something me and Bubba will talk about when we get a chance. I eyed a little something that I want to share with you guys when the time comes. So into the next slide. Here was a good one. So right off the giddy up this morning, as you guys know, I'm eyeing this 71.52. This is pre-market. I'm getting long here, gentlemen. I'm long. I took profits of 65, 71, and yesterday's high all the way up here. As you guys know, 81 was the big level that we were concentrated on. And so I took profits off of this weekly POC because why? Because we talked about it 100 times. We knew if they held that, the buyers were still in control. And underneath that, the bottom fell out. So I took the risk. I put it on. I had 5 contracts on. Boom, boom, boom. Shooter McGavin before the market even started. Amazing shit. So now let's talk about the short, right? So here's the interesting thing. Now let's go ahead and talk about SPX. So check this out. As we opened, right, this wasn't here. As I'm writing, SPX hasn't opened. So I'm telling everybody, listen, support is limited, right? And so we have this swing high pivot right here at 71.47. That's this white number right here. And an untested 4-hour at 71.41. Given we're down 50 points in the overnight session, we will more than likely open below this. Well, we opened right here. Okay, so this will be an excellent area to gauge for more up or down as it becomes resistance from the bottom up. If price stays below 71.41, we drift lower. So what do? We pushed up into this area, right? We stayed below 71.47 and 71.41, and we continued to come down. This gave me the confidence to look at the 71.81 and say, okay, hey guys, I think this is going to play out as a nice short. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. Guys, just to let you know, I was on stream with over 25 people taking this trade live, leading our team to success here as usual. And again, this is right out of the trade plan. As you can see, the major inflection point, 77 through 81. We got that 4-hour at yesterday's low, etc. This level has been significant time and time again. We need to watch first price's approach to this, as we could get a potential reaction and send us back down. This is a major reclaim level for the bulls today. So you can see I was actually short about 79, took it down quite a few targets, and even had a runner going even lower. I unfortunately didn't get. As you can see, this is kind of just shows the after effects here. And we actually held these lows pretty well, which we're going to talk about, because if you guys recall, right out of the title this morning, does everybody remember what the title was? The 71.52 POC battleground. Well, let's go ahead and look at the next the next chart so we can see what's happening here. And as you can see, this is the tweet that I put out talking about this is our big battleground. As we come down here, look how many times they rejected on this 1 hour chart. They just could not push that any lower than our point of control here. And so ultimately, if the sellers are going to get absorbed, there's only one way to go, and that is back up. And so they were able to catch a nice ride up towards the end of the day. Now, are they done coming down? I don't know. The data says we're not, but we'll have to see exactly what the day brings. So before I bring Bubba on, I just wanted to give my man here a shout here. Once again, I got Sco in the house. He passed another evaluation. He actually took the 81 short, scored $700 on this joint, and passed his eval. So proud of this guy. He has just turned into an absolute monster. And then, of course, we got Zug on the mic again. Look at this guy. 485 points in NQ and another 70 points in ES. This guy is just knocking them dead. Team Vici in the house. What a fantastic crew. So that is the trade plan for the day, guys. And we're actually going to have some fun here with Bubba. So let's bring him on. Looking forward to it. Let's see what he's working with. Where's my man at? Where's my man? Get him in here. There he is. How you doing?
Here's my notes. I'm ready for today.
Right? That's pretty much what I got.
You remember these?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the trader cards, baby. Where's your clerk at?
My clerk got fired. I don't need a clerk anymore. I don't need anybody to count for me, right? I'm not that big kid. I'm sitting right in front of my machine now.
That's what's up. How's the day? So you and I were on a webinar earlier this afternoon, kind of messing around, and it was a good time. And, tell us about your day. What happened?
My day was good. I was having a decent day before, and then I was on the webinar with you, and you gave me this new indicator under Vision Solutions on TradingView. So I popped it into all my charts. Okay. It worked on the Dow. It worked on the NASDAQ. It worked on gold.
I saw you sent me a text and you were just tearing up gold there. So I
was trading gold for $160 a whack back and forth. Just I was trying the levels. It was really interesting. I like it. I'm like, man, this is like stealing. I gotta get me some of this.
That's what's up. So I don't know what markets did you trade today other than just kind of fiddling around with gold and stuff like that.
I mean, I trade when I do my Mavericks thing in the morning. We trade the four indexes: S&P, Dow, Russell, and Nasdaq, and gold and crude.
Okay, so you got a pretty good feel on what's going on. Listen, as you and I both know, gold's got nailed. I mean, it got nailed to the cross. I didn't tell you this, but I dumped my gold position last week at 434 on GLD when it decided it wasn't going to hold an area I wanted, and then this thing just absolutely collapsed. Any thoughts on this? Like, what's the deal?
Well, I think if I look at it, I say gold's in consolidation. I think it's just churning back and forth between highs and lows, which is, if people understand that markets spend about 65% of the time doing nothing. Now, again, nothing is a relative term because they can move quite a bit. But if you look at gold, I mean, I go, okay, so 445 is my top right now, and 420 is my bottom, right around that area. It's going to trade in that range and break out one way or the other. I think it's going to break out to the upside. But listen, I don't make predictions. I just listen to your levels, then I know what to do.
Get out of town. Will you cut it out? Okay.
Listen, they work. The bottom line is they work, and it is an unbelievable tool. But seriously, I look at this market in consolidation. Broke below today. We'll see. It's not an official break to the downside yet. You can see that right there. The breakdown this morning.
Yeah,
gap through it right at about probably 425.
Yep,
was the bottom end there. So I think 420 is still a little bit of support. We'll see. Again, look, I'm not going to try to predict it. I mean, I own physical gold. I can hedge that. But at the end, like I said, markets spend about 65% of the time jerking around, trading between levels. As you just went through, that doesn't mean you can't make money trading those levels if you understand them, right? But to get the big move up, like you caught the big move in gold from 4,100.
Yeah.
And it went right to 4,800.
Yep.
Okay.
I was in from 386, I think it was, or 393. Excuse me, 393.
Yeah. So I mean, you caught that beautifully. And again, that's what you're looking for. And if you're trying to trade these, listen, if you have a wide enough range, a wide enough consolidation band, that makes you more like a floor trader. Because you can trade you sell the upper end, you buy the lower end. And what you're really looking for is you're looking for it to break out. If you sell the top end of the range, you're looking for it to bust the bottom, but you know that you might have to cover when it gets to that bottom end of the range, right?
Right. True that. Yep. Absolutely.
So, but we're trading, when I'm trading 6 products, but I'm actually watching, I have 17 price ladders open on another screen.
Okay.
Because I'll trade the euro currency. I'll trade any market if it's moving. It's like the floor days. Now, when you were in the option floor, which is where I started.
Yep.
I was in the OEX predominantly, but if there was big news in IBM, we all ran over to IBM. If there was big news in GE, we'd run over to GE.
See, they wouldn't let me out of the corner. They kept me in the coat closet.
But they kept you in the coat closet because you were in the private country club. You didn't have to go out there like us. So we'd run to all the different pits, right? So I don't actively trade, but if I'm seeing something crazy, and I'm seeing like the price, I'm using price ladders, right? I guess I call them DOMs. I call them price ladders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, DOMs. Yep.
But if I start seeing one that's ripping up or ripping down, I'm going to take a look at that chart, right?
Yeah, of course.
I've got in TradingView, I've got 2 screens of TradingView with 8 windows times 8 charts on each window. So I've got 128. I have 128 charts open at any one time.
Since you got so many charts open, which is insane to me, I can barely trade.
I don't look at them all the time, but again, if something's ripping, I want to go right to that chart. Okay.
What do you think about this? I heard Trump trying to say that he was going to claim a victory on this Iran war today, and they were curious how the Iranians were going to react. Any thoughts on oil? Because it certainly looks like, this is a massive, accumulation or distribution phase. I haven't quite decided what yet. Have you thought about potentially what we're looking at?
I'm a seller of oil, and I'm going to keep selling it until they carry me out. But look, I look at it this way. Trump's been calling victory. Now I'm a Trump fan, so everybody knows. I don't hide my views or what I am. That's what I am. But in this case, he's full of crap.
Okay? This is supposedly the news that came out today.
Yeah, he's full of crap. Because if he was right and we had victory, then oil would be at $80.
Yeah, exactly, or lower, right? Back to where we were at. Yeah.
So, I think for his own sake, I think he needs to end this, okay? Either end it by saying, we'll leave you alone, or end it by taking him out. Now, that's everybody else's choice. I know my personal choice of what I'd like to see happen. But at the end of the day, go look out at December oil. It's in the 70s, maybe it's in the 80s now because of the rally. But that's telling you all we're seeing here is the fear premium. It's no big deal. And he can talk all he wants. This is the thing about you and I talk about news. You can talk news all you want. The chart and the market will tell you if the news is good or if the news is bad.
Well, 9 times, I'm a firm believer that the chart is already, the news is just fuel for what the chart is already set up. I don't know.
1,000%. I get, listen, all you guys, even if you don't trade options, okay, and you don't trade stocks, you just trade futures. But I want you tomorrow, after the close, put up a chart of Google, put up a chart of Microsoft. Okay, they got earnings coming out. Right. You want to see some wild trades, some wild action. Just watch the chart. Put up like a 5-minute chart just to watch it. It's wild, and that's the kind of stuff you're looking for. And that's the news playing out. They're hearing the first number, and they're going to make a move. And you'll see, the expected move in Google tomorrow is $20 plus or minus.
Okay.
So you're going to see that. And me as an options trader, okay, I tell everybody, look, I have a position on for earnings, but I have a neutral position on that will pick up steam if it goes up or down. But from a real trade,
right,
if they beat the number, the expected move, not the earnings number, I could care less. If they beat the expected move, for example, if we go up 25 instead of 20, you can bet your ass I'll be shorting the stock. Okay. If we go down 25, you can bet I'll be buying the stock because that would be far out of expectations. And if you understand options, if you understand volatility, one of the big terms in volatility is gamma, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you to understand that picture, then you know that they've already overpriced these options going into the market. And if we expand outside of the already juicy range that they're expecting, the probability of a retracement to mean is probably 92 to 93%.
Yeah, there'll be some big reversion there for sure.
And I'm going to take that. You give me a 92 to 93% chance of victory on every trade. I'll take every one of those trades all day.
Let me ask you this. Okay, this is a great question. So we've got it. Let's just pretend, right? Google's got a $20 expected move. It goes 25. At this point, these options are so juiced up and so expensive because implied volatility is through the moon. Are you selling the options to basically play the vol crush in order to take it back to the mean reversion, or are you buying the physical stock? Because if you buy the options, you're smoked. Right?
Well, now here's how it depends on.
Okay, please.
It's a great question.
Right.
Okay. I already have some options position on from either side. So if they explode higher, okay, I can short the stock against an open option position and turn that into a synthetic put.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Right? Because long stock, a short stock, long call equals synthetic put.
Synthetic
okay.
Put.
Or if it goes down, I can buy the stock and turn it into a synthetic call. So in the hours after market, I'll use the stock because that's all I can use.
Correct.
Thursday morning, when the market's actually open, if I want to get short, okay, I'll either create a synthetic, or if there is still much to juice. Now we know that once the report is out, the juice comes crumbling out, right? They go back to normal.
And the ball just gets crushed.
In fact, I'll give you guys something to watch for and look for. You know, a stock has earnings. If that stock stays inside of the range, I will bet you that 90% of the options on both sides of the market are going to be down. That's how much overpriced they are.
Yeah.
And I've got charts to show that. I have a chart on Netflix that both sides of the option market got crushed because they pump in too much air. Volatility is like a balloon. The air goes in and the air comes out. For earnings, the air gets in and these balloons get so big that it's very hard. You can't buy those options. You can only sell them. Now, obviously, we don't like to sell them naked.
Yeah,
because it can ruin you.
Obvious reasons, right?
So what you like to do is you like to sell spreads, and what you really have to understand is you look at the spread and you go, okay, I want to sell a call spread, okay, and I want to sell, let's say in Google, I want to sell the 340, the 320, 340 call spread, which means I'm selling the 320 call, I'm buying the 340.
Right.
That corresponds to the 340 put.
Right.
So if my credit that I'm receiving is much bigger, which it will be, then the option I'm buying, I want to sell the spread versus buying the option because I'm actually buying that option for less money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's what you're doing basically is you're either creating a synthetic or you're selling the credit spread because you just can't be naked on a.
I don't want. You know what? I'm too old to be naked. I got too much sagging skin, right? I don't teach naked because I think there's way too much risk. Because as I told you the other day. The improbable happens once a week. The impossible happens once a month. And I've seen too many guys get carried out of the floor. When you can create something, now I can create bigger credit and have risk, but why should I have that unlimited exposure?
Sure.
Not only is it the exposure on the trade, but remember, I'm paying margin interest, and margin interest ain't cheap now. Now margin interest is like 9% now. So why would I want to have an open-ended trade that has, let's say, Google's got $33,000 of margin if you do the stock by itself. If you sell a put naked, it's $33,000 worth of margin. So why not turn it into a spread and make it $3,000 worth of margin instead?
Hey, one of my biggest horror stories, I may have told you this, I'm not sure. I worked for a fund. They hired me they were all futures. You might remember them from the floor. USA, do you remember USA Trading on the floor? Sure. Okay, so I worked for Jake Morowitz. He brought me in. And
my brother.
Yeah, right. So he brought me in as the only, they wanted to start an equity options, portfolio. So he gave me, it was my first big shot at the game, which I thank him for every day, right? But I remember I did something terribly stupid. Amazon was on a tear, absolute tear. They hadn't made money at that point. They hadn't made money in 10 years or 15 years. And I remember selling naked Amazon call, the $1,200 strikes, thinking, never going to happen. Sold 100 of them, right? So, needless to say, they broke my strike. And he called me and he said, what the fuck are you doing? He said, you're going to blow this entire business up. And I ended up basically covering for a $25,000 loss. And that was the last time I ever sold naked calls. I don't have puts are different, but naked calls, not going to happen.
Well, I mean, puts are similar, but I think that if you learn that selling naked premium is not good for you.
No,
okay?
it's not.
There was a company called optionsellers.com. I don't know
Okay.
if you remember the name. It was years ago.
I'm familiar with the name.
But they were a service, and I had guys that were with me, and they go, "You got to go. This guy's making a fortune." And I said,
Right.
"What's he doing?" He's selling naked options.
Yeah.
I go, if
now.
you stay with him,
Yeah.
I will fire you, and I will close your subscription with me.
It's true.
Because I don't teach that. I don't want to teach that because it's not a solid strategy. It works.
It doesn't.
It works until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's really bad.
The meantime, all those guys that kept pounding on me, join, all blew out. They're still to this day, 7 or 8 years later, paying off the debt that they created on that day. When they were short natural gas calls, and natural gas went to $7 from $2. Okay. So again, there's no reason for me to have horror stories. There's no reason for people to do that. Listen, they should trade like you trade. Okay. A couple of trades a day, bang. I know my stop. I know my risk.
Yeah.
$5,000, bang. It's over. Let's go. Next case. On to the gym.
On to the gym. Yep. That's right.
Right. I mean, again, we all learn our lessons the hard way. I mean, listen, I've made plenty of bad trades. I've had plenty of big losers.
You're around long enough, you're going to fuck up. You know what I mean?
But at the end of the day, that's, don't you think it's important that you learn something every day?
That was 10 years ago. It stuck with me like it was just 5 minutes ago,
Right. And you won't ever do that again. And it makes sense because, the positions that a lot of my guys carry and a lot of the stuff that we do, I teach them how to sell premium every day. Yeah. And they pick up, $200-$300 a week. Like it was just sitting on the street, pick it up. I said, here, take your shovel and broom, sweep it in, and you're going to pick it up because you've got protection. The only thing you're possibly giving up is potential profit. You have no risk. You're only giving up potential profit. And isn't that the way that we'd all like to trade all the time?
Absolutely. Hey, listen, like I was just saying, I was on this webinar with you earlier, and you and I are, we're doing our own thing. We meet in the middle and we talk.
We're looking at our notes all the time.
Right. We're looking at the notes. I saw that your daily trade finder was up like 35% this year. That's phenomenal. Congratulations on that. That's great.
You know what? It's a nice little grinder model. There's very little risk, little risk, little reward, but it's consistent. It's every day. Put them out. It's a 3-4 hour trade. You don't have to think about it. That's the beauty of it. It's kind of, but again, you're emergent edge. I mean, what you're doing. Listen, what you're doing for your members. I hope that they all appreciate the work. First of all, the work that goes into this, because
we do.
You and I can spit it out easy and talk about it because we do it. We've done it for I've done it for 47 years, and I used to have to do it without a chart. Right. Well,
market profile. Were you doing market profile?
We didn't have market profile. We had to trade paper. You didn't have time to trade. Listen, in 1980, there wasn't all this stuff that was out there.
Well, Stoudemire was on the floor with his little X's and O's. Remember?
Yeah, but who could follow him? You had to trade the paper. If you're an order on one side, you gotta hear the bids and the offers.
Right.
But the work that you put in is unbelievable. I mean, I appreciate it because I read everything you write out, you send out. I listen to this every day, except when I'm on it now. Now I'm on it, so it's a good thing. But the value of information that you're helping people gather is unbelievable.
Well,
okay, and I'm serious. And I don't bullshit anybody. Okay, anybody who knows me knows that I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass. Okay,
it took a long time to get to this point. It doesn't happen.
It took me a long time. I'm still trying to learn something.
Yeah.
All right.
Every day.
Again, I think that if you learn to understand the markets, first of all, it's not a job anymore.
No.
Okay? Yeah. It's enjoyment.
Yep.
And for me, am I going to make my money here playing poker today?
Are you headed there after this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here's the rest of my day. I'm going to go play poker till 6, and I have to have acupuncture at 6.
What a rough day. Oh, man. Yeah. I'll tell you. Well, listen, I know you didn't come on here to show your product. You never do. You never talk about your stuff ever. But I was so impressed with your daily trade finder. When we're done here, shoot me the links. I love to put it in the post for, this for everybody. And if they want to check it out, they can check it out. I think that it's a super cool trade. I know that Mike said he had passed a couple prop firms with it already, stock props, and he's been paid out twice. And I mean, this is the kind of stuff that the value I want to spread to people, because, we're here to make money. It's like, dude, let people, see what you got going on. You're the man. Everybody, listen, first off, everybody in my room loves you, by the way. They all
everybody. Hey, let me talk about Lucid. That's your prop firm you like, right?
That's one of them that I use, yeah.
Do they have, do you have to have an evaluation with them, or can you go right to?
You can do direct to funded, yeah.
Okay, because I didn't do props accounts. I only traded my own, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna open up 10 props.
Okay,
so I'm going right from 0 to 10.
Fuck it.
Listen, I like the idea. I like what you talk about. I like what you teach, and why shouldn't I? I mean, what's the difference? I make money trading cash. Why not add another arrow to my quiver?
So just to tell you what I do, I have my cash as a leader. And then I have a copy trader, and they all follow the props, all copy over. So, I basically, I get the best of all worlds, and it works.
No, I think it's great. I mean, again, the nice thing, I think, especially about prop trading, I talked about this on the webinars I do, but people, sim trading is shit. I don't care what anybody says.
Complete garbage.
Because you never feel the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat.
There's zero motion.
Okay. It's easy to say, yeah, I can follow these rules. I'm on sim trading. Lose a little money and tell me how you feel when it's really money, when it goes against either your evaluation or your cash account.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I tested stuff for people and had to do some prop trading for them, and either we'd make money or I'd lose money. And whenever time I made money, I said, how do I get paid? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the same as using micros instead of minis sometimes. Listen, if you can't afford to lose 50 or 60 bucks experimenting and getting the thrill of winning, then you're making a mistake. That's why the prop trading is so wonderful, because it's what, $100, $200, whatever it is, $300.
Yeah, whatever.
It makes you a better trader when you get skin in the game.
I'm just gonna say that, skin in the game.
You said you're better.
You're right. You got skin in the game.
When there's an end game, when you can win the game, right? If I like, you ever play backgammon?
No, I haven't. I would like to.
Backgammon is an unbelievable game, but the reason that most people suck at it and don't understand it is because they don't understand how to use the doubling cube.
Okay.
Anybody can roll the dice, but the strategy of the game is the doubling cube. Okay. Where you can double the price of the bet or win right away at any point during the game. And understanding the rolls, the combinations, you have to know how to work the board, but the combinations, you have to know all the other stuff that goes along with it. And that's the information that you're teaching. And that's why this is nothing more than a game.
For sure. It is.
There are components that go into what you do. You talk about them all the time. Gamma, you talk about, the SPX compared to, those are all things that are part of the game. It's the game plan, what you call it, the plan.
Yeah, no, it's true. Well, Bubba, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I love coming on. I'm a big ham. What do you want?
Every week you're coming on. I love you.
When I'll be back from Florida, you'll be back on a week from Monday on mine, every Monday, starting a week from Monday.
Very nice.
I'm going to Chicago. My mom's 97th birthday. My son's getting engaged on Sunday, and I'm off to West Palm to speak for a trader the next week. So.
Oh, cool! You're going to that conference. That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm speaking. I'm speaking there, and I'll see you in Florida too. Right? Yeah. You're coming down.
Yeah, for sure.
In June. Right?
Yeah, are you going to be there? You're coming?
Unfortunately, I have to go back and forth.
You got coerced in, huh?
I got coerced in. Michael made. I said, you gotta send me a private plane, otherwise I'm not coming.
I told him he's got to put me up in a room. I'm like, dude, this is, he's like, I got the schmancy hotel. I'm like, good, you're paying for the room.
Yeah, I've stayed there before. I was nice? On the beach.
Yeah, it's nice, huh?
It's nice hotel.
That's what's up. Well, thanks again, Bubba. And
guys, thank you guys. I appreciate you. I'll get you those links as soon as I can.
Please do. Thank you, and everyone. We will see you.
Good luck, everybody, and listen to that guy. He's smart. He knows what the fuck he's doing. I'm telling you right now.
Thank you, Bubba. I appreciate it. Talk soon.